Hello students, welcome in the practical session of Molecular Biology and Plant Biotechnology, class BSc final year, semester 6, SGBA Amravati University Amravati. Our today's experiment is demonstration of DNA double helix. In this we are going to see what are the different features of DNA, then how DNA double helix models looks like. You can see this is the model which we are having in our department. Okay. Then we have to see its composition, different components which makes this DNA structure, then its structural features, and we also have to see the properties of DNA that makes DNA as genetic material. Okay, so we will start with certain basic historical account. Okay, so usually we start genetics or molecular biology from the experiment of John Gregor Mendel. Okay, he had given a very nice experimentation and introduced us with the hereditary factor, and that is we usually call as the Mendelian factors. Okay, later we know that I came to know that these Mendelian factors were present on the chromosomes. Okay, so Sutton and Boveri in 2002 to 2004 has given a chromosomal theory of inheritance, where they propose that the Mendelian factors are present on the chromosomes. Okay. Later in 1908 to 1911, T.H. Morgan has given very nice work on fruit fly Drosophila, and that gives the more application that how the mutations takes place and how the hereditary has been influenced by the change in the factors. Okay. Then in 1928, Griffiths has given a very classic experiment that is called a discovery of transforming principle. Okay, he had shown that something from the heat-killed bacteria has been transferring into the non-virulent bacteria and make it virulent, and that transforming principle was later on in 1944 discovered as DNA by Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. Okay, and that particular DNA's as genetic material was confirmed by Hershey and Chase in 1952 by their classic experiment using the autoradiography technique. Okay, so we can say that the DNA was discovered in 18th century, but it remains neglected because during 18th and 19th century, most of the scientists were focused on the properties and activities of proteins. Proteins has been structurally discovered in 1940s by Pauling, and then most of the word has been directed towards the discovery of that protein, and some of them were considered as protein is one of the molecules that may be responsible for heredity. Okay, but after Griffith's experiment, DNA come into focus. In between this period, that is from you can say that around 1930s to 40, that particular period, some studies on molecular biology, particularly related to DNA, has come. Rosalind Franklin, it is the British chemist working in the lab of Maurice Wilkins. She has provided the X-ray diffraction pattern of DNA. Okay. And later on, that X-ray diffraction pattern of DNA was used by J.D. Watson and F.H.C. Crick to propose the double helix structure of DNA. Okay, and for their discovery, the J.D. Watson, F.C. Crick, and Maurice Wilkins shared the Nobel Prize in 1962. Okay. So this, you can say that this is the pioneer of the double helix structure of DNA, Sir J.D. Watson and F.H.C. Crick. Okay, they have proposed this model on 26th April 1953. And here you can say this is the Rosalind Franklin. She has also contributed immensely in the discovery of this DNA, and later on it has been found that its X-ray diffraction pattern has the basis of inventing the model of DNA. And these are three scientists, Crick, Watson and Wilkins, who share the Nobel Prize in medicine or physiology in 1962. Okay, as this Rosalind Franklin was not alive during that particular period, that she was not the part of the this Nobel Prize. Even she was not nominated for that. And the thing is that at the most, for one invention, for one discovery, these Nobel Prizes could be given only 3 persons, not more than 3 persons. And as the Franklin was dead, she was not considered for this award. Okay. Later on, we have to see here that what are the different components of DNA. Okay, because we have to demonstrate DNA double helix structure. So before that we have to see what are the different components of DNA. Okay, so basically it is composed of pentose sugar, here deoxyribose pentose sugar in case of DNA, phosphate group, and on inner side it consists of nitrogenous bases. Here it is the adenine. There are 4 different nitrogenous bases. Okay, adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. These double ring structure, that is adenine and guanine, they are called as the purines, and cytosine and thymine, they are called as the pyrimidines. Okay, on the inner side, as I had already told you, the phosphate and pentose sugar, deoxyribose pentose sugar, it forms the backbone. On inner side, these bases are forming the bonds with one another. So purines, that is adenine, always pairs with the thymine with two hydrogen bonds, while guanine pairs with the cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. This is the specific. Okay, nowhere you found the changes in this particular pairing pattern. Okay, if there is change, then it may lead some problem. Okay, so this is the very unique feature which we found in case of the DNA. Okay. Now when we consider this DNA as a polymer, okay, so what should be the monomer? Okay, as I had already told you that it is made up of or composed of pentose sugar, phosphate group and the nitrogenous bases. So here we can see that this pentose sugar with nitrogenous base, they form a particular structure that is called as a nucleoside. But when this nucleoside molecule combine with the phosphate group, it forms the nucleotide. So nucleotide is the monomer of DNA. When we consider DNA as a polymer, this is the monomer, and number of thousands of these particular nucleotides get together, join together to form a DNA as a polymer. Okay, here you can see this is the double helix structure, 2 helices coiled around one another. It has the polarity at one particular end. Upper end you can see 3' end of one strand and 5' end of another strand. Okay, so here these sugar molecules attached with the phosphate molecules, they are forming the sugar phosphate backbone. On the inner side, these nitrogenous bases get connected or bonded with the other nitrogenous bases with specificity, that is thymine always binds with adenine with 2 hydrogen bonds, guanine with cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. So likewise, 2 strands with sugar phosphate backbone having polarity. Suppose this is the 5' end, it is this 3' end. Now if this side 3' end, it will be 5' end. Okay, so such type of structure has been found. This is the 2-dimensional structure you can say here. Okay, here you can see these are the 2 strands with polarity, and these are the nitrogenous bases on the inner side get attached with one another with base specificity. Okay, and this is the coiled structure. Okay, double helical structure. Now here you can found that in general this shows the polarity. The diameter of this particular DNA double helix is 2 nanometer. It is the 20 angstrom. Okay, and at one particular coil or helix it has around 10 base pairs. Okay, 10 base pairs, and the length is 3.4 nanometer or 34 angstrom. So ultimately the distance between two nitrogenous bases, it is around 3.4 angstrom. Okay, it also shows certain minor grooves and major grooves which are helping the histone proteins to get attached and form the coil structure. So here is the nucleosome, which is the first coil structure. The nucleosome core is made up of the histone proteins, 8 subunits, 2 of each one, that is H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. It form an octamer. Okay, and this octamer get wrapped around by the DNA, and on the outer side there is the another histone protein, H1 histone protein get bind. Okay, so likewise such histone proteins which form 11 nanometer fiber, they get together to form a long chain, that is beads on string like structure, and likewise this and this particular attached that DNA which attached to two nucleosome, they are called as the linker DNA. Okay, and this particular H1 protein get attached to this particular linker DNA. It further compress the structure, and finally you get the most coiled and supercoiled structure of chromosome. Okay, so this is the process of forming the chromosome from the DNA, that is DNA packaging. Okay, now we have to know why we are going to study this particular DNA. Okay, so DNA is a genetic material that we know because it is having n number of nitrogenous bases, and if they are placed in a very specific manner, they gives a sort of codes that is called as the genetic code. Okay, so in general these codes are in the combination of 3 bases, that is called as the triplet. Okay, so likewise 64 triplet has been proposed. Of these, 61 codes for amino acids and 3 codes for stop codons. Okay, and each of these triplet it codes for one particular amino acid. Like here you can say this guanine, uracil and uracil. Okay, GUU it codes for valine, again GUC codes for valine, again GCU codes for alanine. So likewise each one for each amino acid there is a single or more than one triplet is there to code for that particular amino acid. This genetic code is commaless. When we write this genetic code, you cannot give comma. It is non-overlapping. Okay, it is universal and non-ambiguous, and it has start codon and stop codons. Here you can say start codon methionine or phenylmethionine, and this stop codon there you can say UGA. This is the stop codon, or UAA or UAG. They are the stop codons. Okay, so likewise the genetic code, it is also called as it gives the meaning to that particular content, and that's why it is called as the language of life. Okay, now we have to see what makes DNA a genetic material. What are the properties that makes this particular DNA a genetic material? Okay, so the first property is it stores genetic information that we had seen, and it transmits to the next generation. It is universal, no doubt. It is stable biomolecule, particularly thermostable, and it is capable of self-replication. Thus, it can maintain the DNA content in the progeny cells. So, it is very important. Otherwise, it may cause the mutations. Okay. So, these things, these properties are there with DNA. That's why DNA is working as the genetic material, and we are considering it as genetic material of most of the eukaryotes. Okay. So, thank you, students. Now, what you have to do for your practical on drawing page, you have to give the title. Okay, then You have to draw the diagrams of DNA double helix, then nitrogenous bases and base pairing. Okay, and you have to give the introduction, its composition and its properties of DNA double helix and why it is called as the genetic material. So that you have to give in the writing page. Okay. On drawing page you have to draw the diagram, on writing page you have to give this entire information regarding this. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hope it will be help for your preparation. Thank you very much.